Watch this video only if you are a man. Yes, only if you are a man. So if you're a woman, I would request you to leave the room or watch some other video. But this video is just for men, right? So, hi, my name is Chani Singh Ravi, and I want to ask you something today. Not as a coach, not as a trainer, not as someone trying to teach you anything, but just as one human being talking to another. When was the last time someone genuinely asked you, how are you? And I don't mean how's work, how's business, how's family, how are kids, how's everything going on. I mean you, the man behind all of that, the man carrying the responsibility, the man making the decision, the man everyone depends on, the man everyone assumes is okay. When was the last time somebody checked on you? Because I believe this is one of the biggest silent cries men are facing today. And the reason is that it is so dangerous because it doesn't look like a crisis from outside. You have a good job, you have a family, you have a house, you have a car, a successful career. People may even be admiring you at this moment. And yet, something inside just feels heavy. And because everything looks fine on the outside, nobody sees it. Not even you sometimes, right? So, you know what is interesting? We live in a world where everyone is talking about success, how to make more money, how to become more productive, how to become a better leader, build a business, how to invest, how to optimize your life, and all of that, that is important. But underneath all those conversations, there is another conversation that is happening, a quieter one, a more honest one. And it sounds something like this: I'm tired, I'm carrying a lot, I don't know whom to talk to, I can't afford to fall apart, I have to keep going. The strange thing is, most men never actually say these words. They just feel them and then they carry them day after day, month after month, year after year. Drop in the comment section if you have ever done that. And that is why I want to say something that may surprise you. I don't think you're failing. Actually, I think most men are succeeding. You're showing up, you're working, you're paying the bills, you're taking care of your responsibilities, you're doing what needs to be done. But here is the problem: success on the outside doesn't always mean peace on the inside, and that's the conversation very few people are willing to have. So, let's talk about the first pressure, the pressure to provide. Now, listen carefully. There is nothing wrong with being a provider. In fact, I think it is one of the most admirable qualities in a man. A man who takes responsibility, a man who protects, a man who provides, a man who contributes, that deserves respect. But somewhere along the way, many men start believing something very dangerous. If I'm not producing, I don't matter. And that changes everything, because now your value becomes connected to your output, your income, your result, your achievement, your performance, and suddenly a bad month doesn't just affect your bank account, if it affects your identity. A setback doesn't just feel like a setback, it feels like a personal failure, and that's a heavy burden to carry. Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like you needed to have everything figured out financially? Have you ever felt the pressure to be the one with all of the answers? Have you ever stayed awake at night thinking about money, responsibility, or future? Well, most men have, but they just don't talk about it. And then comes the family pressure. Now, this one is different because it comes from love. You love your family, you want the best for them, you want to protect them, you want to provide for them. You want to solve problems before they even happen. And because you care so much, you often carry more than you need to. You become the problem solver, the protector, the decision maker, the dependable one, the strong one, and eventually everyone starts leaning on you. But who do you lean on? Now that's the question. Who do you lean on? Because many men are carrying fears they never share, stress they never discuss, doubts they never express, not because they're weak, but because they don't want to worry the people they love. I've seen this in men closest to me, my father, my brother, my husband, strong men, good men, men who genuinely care. And one thing I've noticed is that they often carry much more than they are revealing. Not because they are hiding, not because they're pretending, but because they believe protecting others means carrying more themselves. And over time, that weight just accumulates. Then there is the financial pressure. And let's be honest, life isn't getting simpler. Everything costs more, expectations are higher, competition is greater, the pressure never seems to stop. Everywhere you look, someone is telling you do more, earn more, build more, become more, push harder, work harder, hustle harder. And while ambition is healthy, constant pressure isn't. Eventually, you begin asking yourself, when do I get to breathe? When is enough actually enough? But the biggest pressure of all isn't financial, it's emotional. And almost nobody talks about it because emotional isolation is different from loneliness. You can be surrounded by people and still feel isolated. You can be married, you can have children, you can have friends, you can have colleagues, and still feel like nobody truly understands what you're carrying. And that creates a kind of loneliness that is very difficult to explain. You see, most men were taught how to perform. They were taught how to achieve, how to endure, how to solve problems, how to keep going. But very few men were taught how to process emotional weight, how to talk about it, how to release it, how to carry it consciously. And so, what happens is the pressure builds, the frustration builds, the exhaustion builds, and the isolation builds. And eventually, the man begins wearing masks, the strong mask, the successful mask, the confident mask, leader mask. After a while, he forgets where the mask ends and he begins. And this is where most people get the solution wrong. They think men more need motivation, more discipline, more productivity, more pressure. No, that is not the answer because pressure isn't the problem. It is the inability to release the pressure is the problem. And that is why I believe something very strongly that men don't need more pressure. They need more places to put the weight down. Let that sink in. Men don't need more criticism, more expectations, more demands, more pressure to perform. Many men simply need a safe conversation, a trusted brotherhood, a space where they don't have to pretend, a space where they don't have to perform, a space where they can simply be human. And that is exactly why the vice exists. It is not to tell men they need to be fixed, not to tell men they need to become alpha or they need to become dominating, but to help men reconnect with their values, with their identity, and with their confidence and expansion. Because I truly believe the strongest men are not the ones who carry everything alone. The strongest men are the ones who learn how to carry responsibility without losing themselves. So before I leave you today, I want you to sit with one question. Just one. What weight have you been carrying that nobody knows about? You don't need to tell anyone, you don't need to write it down, just acknowledge it because awareness is the beginning of transformation. And in our next video, we are going to uncover 3 invisible traps that keep good men stuck: the provider trap, the performer trap, and the permission trap. And you may discover that you've been living inside one of them for years. Until then, take care of yourself, because you are more than your responsibilities, you're more than your income, you're more than the roles you play. And perhaps the conversations you've been avoiding is the conversation that changes everything. Welcome to the Wise: Value, Identity, Confidence, and Expansion.